So yesterday we had a bit of it was a bit of an announcement, it was a little announcement that Kingdom Hearts 4 was coming. Now, I'm not the biggest Kingdom Hearts guy. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Kingdom Hearts like I particularly know anything about it. I'm just going to say it looks alright, looks pretty cool. The whole Quadratum environment that Sora finds himself in looks pretty cool. It's not really the kind of thing I'm going to speak about. Now, the thing I am going to speak about, however, is the fact that this is another confirmation of all of those GeForce Now leaks from... How long ago was it? It was about 6 months ago, I think. Yeah, it was around 6-7 months ago that we first got the list of leaked games, and a lot of them have been confirmed. A lot of them are out already. And this kind of brings the perspective back to a couple of games that we were quite interested in last time. Those games are Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy IX, because both of those games appeared on the list. I've done a video previously about it, you can go and check that out if you want. But Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster was on the list, and Final Fantasy IX Remake was on the list. Now, Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, that should be a pretty straightforward thing. I don't see it being a massively different experience to what we previously had with Final Fantasy Tactics, same as the Pixel remasters, and a massively different experience to what we originally had with the original games. The big thing about the Tactics Remaster is going to be quality of life. It's going to be bringing the graphics up a little bit, the same way the Pixel remaster has with the models. It's brought the standard of them up quite a bit. And the music, that's going to get a massive upgrade as well. And I keep saying if this Tactics remaster is true, but given the fact that a lot of the things that were on that list, like Kingdom Hearts 4, like the GTA remasters, so many things that have been confirmed as yes, they are happening, the Chrono Cross remaster, all of these things are being confirmed and announced over time, and it's actually starting to make me think that there is a Tactics remaster coming. Square Enix are going hard at the minute. I don't know what the quality is going to be like on all of these things that they're putting out there, but they are putting a lot of things out at the minute. So yeah, Tactics Remaster is probably going to fall along the same lines as, the Pixel remasters. It's going to be a bit of a boost, a bit of an upgrade, but it's not going to be anything monumental. The story is not going to change. It is going to be Final Fantasy Tactics still, just shinier. Yeah, shinier. I think we'll go with shinier. And then we come to the next thing, and the next thing is the big one. Final Fantasy IX Remake. Not a remaster, a remake. And with all of these things from that GeForce Now leak being confirmed, Final Fantasy IX Remake is looking more and more likely. One thing that kind of makes me think it as well is when you look at the quality of the remasters of the PS1 games. I mean, Final Fantasy VII got a little bit of an upgrade, and it's good. Everything works fine. Final Fantasy VIII got the full remaster treatment, and it's great. It works perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Everything's good. You look at the port of Final Fantasy IX from PS1 to modern systems, and it's pretty janky. I've been complaining about it for the last few weeks. Story-wise, character-wise, perfection, as always. But the mechanics, like, there's certain things like Tetramaster, broken minigame, the world map frame rate's abusively slow. Battles, like some of the animations and getting into combat and things like that, it makes the fights drag so much. And I don't know why it's like that, because 8 isn't like that, 7 isn't like that. So it just doesn't, it baffles me a little bit why 9 was like that. Even back in the day, it was like, why is this like this? So I've been kind of saying recently they need to do a better port, a remaster port, similar to Final Fantasy VIII. This would be completely different. This would be building the game from the ground up again, the remake. And it kind of makes me think that there might be an issue with the original package of the game or something like that. Maybe they've not got all the files that they need to do a proper remaster. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's things missing from back in the 90s that they've just not got access to. Maybe there was something about the way they built 9 originally that doesn't lend to the same tactics that they used on 8 and 7, to kind of modernise it and put the quality of life aspects in and things like that. Maybe 9 just doesn't work like that. So a remake is going to be interesting. But it also fills me with some trepidation because, like, I've already seen people on Twitter saying, oh, I hope Final Fantasy IX Remake's an action game. No. No. Stop. Please, just stop. I was on Baby Seal's podcast the other day talking about the identity of Final Fantasy, one of my big things is that, yes, the story and and all of that sort of thing, the characters and the tropes and the themes that are regularly used in the Final Fantasy franchise are critical to the identity of the franchise. So are the mechanics, and so is the gameplay that you expect. If you were to take a game that is one of the most beloved turn-based games, turn it into an action game of some sort, you know, like a Final Fantasy VII Remake type of system, I don't know, I just feel like it'd lose something. Like, I don't get this urge that people have for everything to be an action game. Like, I genuinely don't. But anyway, it does concern me a little bit. The other thing that concerns me a little bit is, what if they try and do something similar to what they did with Remake? Like, Remake lends itself to a sequel. There's a lot of questions. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of questions from the compilation. What went down after Dirge of Cerberus? There's still questions about the Sphex that needed answering. There's still questions about Sephiroth and Jenova and the Ancients that needed answering. So it kind of makes sense that this is a continuation. Final Fantasy IX, there's no such thing. I don't think, personally at least. I think Final Fantasy IX is a one and done. When you get to the end of that story, every single character has had resolution of some sort, be it positive or negative. Some of it makes you want to cry, some of it makes you want to smile, cheer. It's such a good game. They mess with the story on it, it might not remain as good of a game as it was. It may not retain that same level of quality. I'd kind of like them to approach it as if it's a remaster but remake it, if you know what I mean. So don't change the story. Don't change any of those things. Maybe add a few bits if you really have some ideas from back then that you just didn't implement. But please don't give it the remake treatment. It wouldn't work. I personally do not think it would work with Final Fantasy IX. With 7, it kind of makes sense. There's continuation. There's questions that still need to be answered. There's characters still kicking about that have got agency and would make things happen in the world. Whereas in FF9, everything wraps up in a pretty neat little bow at the end of that game. Like, everything. So, yeah. But anyway, I've rambled enough. What do you think? What are you looking forward to? Are you up for the Tactics Remaster? The Tactics Remaster, I don't think anything can realistically go wrong with that. Like, it is just improving the base of it. So, yeah, I can't see anything going wrong with the Tactics Remaster. But what do you feel about a Final Fantasy IX remake? Does it scare you? Does it excite you? Are you one of the people that want to see it be a more action-based game? Or are you like me and you'd like to see it retain that turn-based combat system? You know, the one that we all know and love as Final Fantasy fans. Let me know. Let me know what you think. I mean, would the art style change? Would you be concerned about it becoming too realistic looking and losing that charm that Final Fantasy IX had? And still has. You put Final Fantasy IX on now, and I've been doing it on stream recently, and yeah, the frame rate issues are annoying on the world map. The combat is a bit slow in the world map. Everything else is beautiful still. Everything else is magnificent. And the charm of the aesthetic, the backdrops, the pre-rendered backgrounds, the character models, the enemy models, all of that could end up changing, and whether it's better or not, who knows. But anyway, let me know. What do you think? Are you up for the Tactics Remaster? I think everyone's going to be up for the Tactics Remaster, if I'm being completely honest with you. And yeah, Final Fantasy IX. What do you think? What do you think? What are you looking forward to? What are you scared of? Do you even think it'll happen, or do you think it was just something that was in there that isn't going to happen? I personally, I think it's pretty likely to happen now. It feels like it's likely to happen, so that's what I'm going to go with. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Drop a like on the video, subscribe for future content, and more importantly than anything, have a great day.